Netflix just adapted Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club. And the big question is, was it a faithful adaptation? Did they solve the mystery? Did they kill the vibe? What are the differences between the book and the movie? So let's break it all down. First, I'll tell you everything you need to know about the book and I'll share my thoughts. Then I'll share my thoughts on the movie and my review of the movie. And finally, I'll talk about the differences between both the book and the movie. Okay, let's get into the book review. Now, Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club came out in 2020. I have to say, instantly became one of my favorite cozy mysteries of the past few years. I mean, the setup is brilliant. There are 4 residents. They're living in this retirement community, and their names are Elizabeth, Joyce, Ron, and Ibrahim. And they meet every Thursday in the jigsaw room to go over cold cases. Now, they call themselves a Thursday Murder Club, and at first, it's kind of just a hobby, but when a real murder happens close to home, they find themselves right in the middle of a real-life investigation. Now, I have to tell you, what I loved about this book is how clever and warm it is at the same time. It's witty without being mean, it's cozy, but it's still layered, and I really appreciated that it talked about aging in a way that really isn't depressing. But can we take a sidebar to talk about the retirement house or something like that? It was a big thing on social media. Do you all remember? It happened during the pandemic, and I know there was this house, like this content creation house with retirees, and they were creating content together and doing stuff together. I think one of the members unfortunately passed away. But you know, that retirement house vibe, if you saw that social media account, that was kind of the energy I was getting in this book as well. Because again, it really takes aging seriously and it's not depressing. It actually sounds fun. But let's talk about the characters. So Elizabeth is kind of the mysterious one, but you know, she has this commanding presence. And you're not quite sure what Elizabeth used to do for a living. But clearly, you know, she has some spy level skills going on, which is a bit wild. Then we have Joyce. Now, Joyce is a wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, charming narrator whose diary entries really pull you in. And I think it added so much heart to the book. And then Ron, on the other hand, he's kind of a bit brash and bold, whilst Ibrahim, he's more meticulous and detail-oriented and also a bit cautious. So for me, it just really makes them the perfect mismatched team. And the book worked because it's so much more than a mystery. It's really about friendship and camaraderie and finding purpose later in life. And again, you know, not being underestimated because you're later on in your life. So this book really gives cozy mystery vibe with cozy crime, with deeper layers underneath. And I don't say this lightly, but if you do love Agatha Christie or Knives Out or just stories with those clever plots and big hearts, I definitely recommend you picking up this book. Now, as of the time of recording, there are 4 books in the Thursday Murder Club series, but odds are by the time you're watching this, book 5 is already out. Now, the first book is The Thursday Murder Club, which is the book the adaptation is based on. This is the first book in the series and it is a must read. Then, continuing in the series, we have The Man Who Died Twice, we have The Bullet That Missed, and then we have The Last Devil to Die. Now, book 5 in the series is entitled The Impossible Fortune, and this book is due out at the end of September, and I had an opportunity to read an early copy on NetGalley, and I have to say, it's really good. It's really, really, really good. And when I sit down and reflect, it is rivaling book 1 for the best book in the series that I've read thus far. Now, I think I might end up doing a separate video where I rank the books in the series. Let me know if that is something you're interested in. But I will say, book 5, it's really good. However, I am a purist at heart. So book 1 for now is still my favorite. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments if I should do that video where I rank them. But now let's go and watch the adaptation and I'll report back to you sharing my thoughts on the film. So, I watched The Thursday Murder Club on Netflix last night, and my first reaction was, wow, this is beautiful, it's stunning, charming, but also, wait a second, what happened to half the plot? Let's start with talking about the movie on its own. Let's not talk about the book yet, just focus on the movie. First of all, the cast was simply iconic. I mean, Helen Mirren as Elizabeth, excellent casting. I mean, that steel spine under that polite manner, she really nails it. Pierce Brosnan as Ron, he really got that energy with just enough washed-up charm. And Ben Kingsley as Ibrahim. He's low-key hilarious with his little notebook and things. I loved it. And Celia Imrie as Joyce. Perfect mix of wide-eyed newbie, but a little bit of sneakiness and sharpness too. I truly felt like this was the Avengers Squad Senior Citizen Edition. It was great. I love their chemistry together. And visually, Cooper's Chase is gorgeous. Maybe too gorgeous, because in the book, it's a retirement community with secrets, while on screen, it looks like Downton Abbey, but, you know, for pensioners, retired folks. So their big paneled rooms, sprawling lawns. What are the fees at this place? It's just super posh, super expensive. Again, beautiful. But it kind of made it feel a tad bit more fairy tale than mystery for me. Now, tone-wise, I think it's light, it's breezy, it's cozy. I think the director really brought that glow to it. And I can tell because he also directed Home Alone and Harry Potter. So it kind of really worked for that comfort viewing, but also made the dark bits like, the murder, the corruption, human trafficking. Yes, that's there. It made it feel a tad bit watered down. So at times, on one hand, it's Sunday tea time TV murder mystery, but then suddenly it swerves into slapstick comedy. Why was Brosnan doing aqua aerobics? And the bit with, Tom Ellis doing a skating bit to Lady Gaga and Celia Imrie dropping a loud what the F in front of a child on a bus? I mean, look, I laughed, but I felt it was a bit of tonal whiplash. Now, do I think it works as a movie? Absolutely, yes. It's charming, it's cozy, it's watchable. And honestly, I'd rewatch these actors read the phone book. I mean, they were great. They were just brilliant together. But as an adaptation, buckle up, because I think this is where we're going to start fighting. I'm going to get into the book versus the movie and the big differences. And the thing is, the Thursday Murder Club novel, this book, is packed with so many threads. There's murders, there's side characters, there's red herrings, emotional gut punches, and more. Now, the Netflix movie, on the other hand, I think it really trims a lot. It reworks other bits, and sometimes it just makes stuff up. So here are the biggest differences with receipts, okay? I have my record cards, my index cards. I've been taking notes, okay? The handwriting is a bit dodgy because I did it last night. But I'm going to get into around a dozen differences between the book and the movie. And you let me know your thoughts in the comments. Was it a good decision? Was it a bad call? And how did it translate on screen? Okay, one big difference that I noticed immediately was Ron's son, Jason. So Jason Ritchie. In his storyline in the book, he's a really big deal. He's this washed up former boxer, minor celebrity, but he has lots of tabloid baggage. Now, when a photo surfaces showing him with Tony Curran and Bobby Tanner, boom, he's immediately a suspect. The police take him seriously, the club takes him seriously, and Jason is forced to actually help the Thursday Murder Club. So he has to help them track down leads in order to clear his name. He even goes undercover on a date with Karen Playfair to kind of really scope her out as a potential suspect. Now, I felt it really added layers to his character and ties Ron more emotionally to the case. Now, in the movie, Netflix basically said, too many moving parts with him. Karen and her dad, let's delete that. Instead, Jason's alibi is he was having an affair with Ian Ventham's wife. Like, what? That was such a soap opera-ish twist, in my opinion. Does it give him an alibi? Sure. But I felt it robbed us of the tension of Jason possibly really being guilty. Plus, the Playfair subplot, that was such a fun detour in the book. Okay, second person on my list, Bobby Tanner. We have to talk about Bobby Tanner's role because in the novel, Bobby is just mostly this name that floats around. We know he's shady. Sure, he's an old associate of Tony Curran's with some ghost in his past. However, he's not front and center. Now, Elizabeth eventually tracks him down and we see him living this quiet life as a florist under a new name. That whole bit is funny. It's subtle, it's quiet. It's Osman doing his whole cozy mystery thing. But in the movie, oh no, Bobby's a full-blown villain. He's not hiding out. He's running a whole human trafficking ring with Tony Curran. He's confiscating passports from Eastern European workers. He's menacing. He sends creepy men to follow Elizabeth. Like he literally has someone break into her house and leave her threatening flowers. Threatening flowers, a whole thing. Listen, the tone shift for me is wild because suddenly it's like Elizabeth just wandered into like a gangster movie. I mean, Richard Grant, though, is fantastic. Can we talk about him? He is fantastic at playing this slimy, dodgy character. But it completely changes Bobby from the background of a red herring to now a major character. All right, third person on my list, Turkish Gianni. This one is one of, I feel, the biggest absences. Okay, one of many. Let me just say one of many. In the book, Gianni's a whole subplot. He is an elusive third business partner. He's a mob-linked character who fled Cyprus, and everyone suspects he's behind Tony's murder. The police even chase that thread across borders. He is actually like this looming figure that adds intrigue and expands the whole mystery. In the movie, poof, he's gone, entirely erased. They folded his menacing character into Bobby Tanner instead, so it's kind of like combining characters, which I get because look, runtime is limited for a movie, but I felt it just flattened the mystery. So we go from a layered whodunit with multiple suspects to a bit more of a simplified story with fewer twists. All right, next on my list is Father Mackey. Now, this one really stings. It really does, because in the book, Father Mackey is a tragic, complicated character. It turns out he's not even really a priest, but he is a doctor who lived at the convent in the 70s. Now, he fell in love with a nun, she got pregnant, and when they were exposed, unfortunately, she took her own life. Now, he buried her and their unborn child in the cemetery, which is why he's so desperate to protect the land. I felt it was kind of sad. I mean, look, it's human. It's one of those really emotional gut punches that Osman does so well. But in the movie, he's just waving a protest sign for about 5 seconds. That's it. All of the emotional baggage, all of the depth, gone. And Netflix just really said, you know what? We don't have time for a tragedy in this. We have Brosnan in a floaty, so we're going to run with him instead. All right, next character for me is Bernard. In the book, Bernard is a heartbreaking character. I love seeing Joyce baking him cakes. There's a spark of affection between them. And then, boom, we learn that he secretly buried his wife's ashes under a bench, also in the cemetery. He lives with that guilt, and unfortunately, when the truth is threatening to come out, he unfortunately takes his own life. Yes, it's subtle, it's sad, it gives the book, again, in my opinion, real weight. Now, movie Bernard, yeah, he's there. I mean, look, Joyce chats with him, sure, but his backstory completely cut. And that's just another emotional core that was gutted. Okay, number 6 is Bogdan's confession. I think this is the biggest tonal shift, actually, because in the book, Bogdan is cold. He confesses only to Stephen, who forgets because of his dementia, and he confesses that he deliberately killed Tony Curran as revenge for the murder of his best friend. He planned it, he waited, he struck. Listen, that was chilling, and it really adds this dark edge onto the cozy, beautiful surface. Now, in the film, nope. Suddenly, Bogdan accidentally killed Tony while trying to get his passport back, because he just wanted to visit his mom, who was in Poland. Poor guy, right? I felt Netflix went full sympathy edit. It's not bad. Listen, it's not bad. It's just a completely different story, because they basically killed one of the most striking reveals in the book, because it blew my mind at the time. Okay, 7. Is it 7? Anyway, the next thing on my list is Elizabeth's investigation style, because book Elizabeth, she's Machiavellian, okay? She manipulates. She withholds evidence from the police. She has secret contacts everywhere. She is basically Miss Marple with MI6 clearance. All right, like, she is a really big deal. That, I felt, is what really made her fascinating. Movie Elizabeth, look, she's still sharp, because look, it's Helen Mirren, who can do no wrong, okay? No wrong. But a lot less shadowy and a lot less ruthless. I felt in the movie she shared more, she collaborated more, she still played it safe, but I think it made her a bit more likable maybe, but also less terrifying, but also brilliant at the same time. Okay, the next characters I want to talk about is Penny and John. Now, both book and film agree Penny killed Peter Mercer decades ago. John covered it up. But in the book, Elizabeth handles the confrontation alone. It's intimate, it's chilling because it's Liz in the book. You feel the weight of Penny's guilt and John's desperation to protect her. But in the movie, I found it interesting they chose to have the whole gang there. It's like it's story time and everyone's there. I think it loses the quiet devastation and it really turns into like a group outing as opposed to the chilling effect in the book. Okay, another character we need to talk about, the actual location. We need to talk about the fate of Cooper's Chase, because in the book, Joyce's daughter, Joanna, reviews the legal files, she orchestrates the deal, and she surprises everyone by buying Cooper's Chase. It's clever. It's satisfying. It really gives Joyce's family a really cool moment. But in the movie, we see Elizabeth bullying Bobby Tanner into selling it to Joyce. Look, it's still effective, but I felt it was less twisty. It was also like Elizabeth flexing her power instead of it kind of being a surprise gift. Ooh, before I forget, we need to talk about Ibrahim, because the book leaves Ibrahim's personal life quite a bit of a mystery, but the movie gave us a tiny moment in the closing montage. I don't know if you caught it, but right at the end, we saw him showing Joyce a photo of himself with a man, kind of implying a past romance. It's small, it's sweet, but honestly, it's one of the changes I really loved because it doesn't clashes with the story. And it kind of gives Ibrahim just a little bit more dimension. And I love seeing him confide in Joyce with that. So yeah, that was really cute. So it's fair to say, wrapping things up, the book is messy, it's layered, it has twists, it has lots more tragedies in there as well. Whereas the movie is very neat, Victoria Sponge, pretty, tidy, simpler. It's tasty, but, completely different texture. So here's the deal. The Netflix version of the Thursday Murder Club, it's fun, it's cozy. It's kind of movie you want to watch with a cup of tea, some biscuits on a rainy afternoon. But is it the same layered, witty, surprising story Osman wrote? Not at all, not really. The book is more of a jigsaw puzzle with hundreds, actually 1,000 tiny pieces. But the movie takes half them out, actually maybe 80% of it out, and shoves the rest together and says, hey, close enough and listen, I get it. You can't fit the entire labyrinth into a 2-hour movie, because if they kept every single subplot, it would have been 7 hours, maybe series should be best. I mean, let me know what you think. A 7-hour miniseries, 7 episodes, limited edition, maybe that could work. Because the truth is, for me, some of the cuts really hurt. Bernard's story, gone. Father Mackey's tragedy, gone. Bogdan's cold-blooded revenge just handed down to whoopsie, it was an accident. So in the end, do I recommend it? Yes, absolutely. But of course I have notes, because if you read the book, go in knowing that this is the abridged version, cut down version, really short. But if you haven't read the book, you'll probably love it because the cast carries the whole thing on their backs. But for us book readers, we'll always be side-eyeing Netflix for cutting Turkish Gianni. Anyway, I'm not going to rant anymore. It was a good adaptation. I had fun. But I want to hear from you. I want to know, have you watched the movie? Did the changes bother you? Or did you just kind of sit and enjoy the cozy vibes? And if you've read the book, what subplots do you miss the most? For me, again, I'm going to say it, Bernard, hands down, if I have to pick one. Obviously, I've been nitpicking at other things, but I would love to hear from you. So share your thoughts in the comments. If you want me to do a deep dive, I have book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. I also even read an early copy of book 5. Let me know if you want me to go down this rabbit hole. Let me know if you want this to be a deep dive, because word on the curb is that Netflix is going to make this a franchise. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this cozy crime conversation going. All right, everyone. Talk to you in the next one. Bye.